Have you ever looked at your retirement account and felt a quiet wave of worry? You've worked for years, paid bills, tried to save when you could, and still, the idea of retiring comfortably at 60 or 65 feels distant, sometimes even impossible. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone, and it's not your fault. Most Americans were never taught how to build a system around money. We were taught to earn more, spend more, and hope the numbers work out later. But something interesting happens when you look at Japan. Many ordinary Japanese workers, not millionaires, not tech founders, manage to retire in their 50s or early 60s with far less financial anxiety. So what's different? Today we'll look at 7 quiet habits in Japanese culture that slowly build financial stability over decades. None of them are extreme. None require a huge salary, but together, they change the trajectory of a life. And there's one habit near the end that quietly multiplies the effect of all the others. But here's what most people completely miss. Let's start with a simple but surprising fact. Japan has one of the highest personal savings rates in the developed world. Meanwhile, many Americans reach their 60s with little or no retirement savings. Now here's the interesting part. The average Japanese household does not earn dramatically more than American households. In many cases, they earn less, yet the outcome looks different. That means the gap isn't mainly about income. It's about behavior, daily decisions, cultural systems, and a few subtle habits most people never notice. I'll explain why that matters in a minute, because once you see it, the whole retirement conversation starts to look different. The first habit is simple. Pay yourself first. In Japan, saving often happens automatically the moment income arrives. Many workers use automatic transfers that move money directly into savings accounts before spending begins. This removes decision fatigue. In behavioral psychology, this is called pre-commitment. When the decision is made ahead of time, willpower isn't required later. In contrast, many Americans save whatever is left over at the end of the month. But the truth is, there's rarely anything left over. Expenses expand to fill available income. Try this small shift. Set an automatic transfer the day your paycheck arrives. Even a small percentage matters, because consistency, not intensity, builds wealth. And this is where it gets interesting. Spend with intention. In Japan, spending tends to be more deliberate. There's a cultural awareness around consumption. Before buying something, many people pause and ask, "Do I truly need this?" This pause matters more than it seems. Research shows that impulse spending activates the brain's reward centers. But that feeling fades quickly, while the financial impact stays. In the US, consumption is often frictionless. One click, same-day delivery, advertisements everywhere. But friction can actually protect savings. Try adding a simple rule. Wait 24 hours before buying non-essential items. The urge often fades, and that small pause quietly protects your future self. But here's the twist. Small homes, smaller costs. Housing is one of the biggest expenses in American life. Larger homes, higher mortgages, maintenance costs. In Japan, homes tend to be smaller and more efficient. Less space means lower costs. Lower costs mean more flexibility. The cultural value isn't square footage, it's practicality. And over decades, housing decisions become one of the largest drivers of financial stability. Imagine carrying a mortgage that's smaller for 30 years. That difference compounds. But here's the part no one talks about. Cash awareness. Japan still uses cash far more often than many Western countries, and this changes spending behavior. When you physically hand over money, your brain registers the cost more clearly. Psychologists call this the pain of paying. Digital payments soften that feeling. Swipe, tap, done. It feels invisible. Cash slows the process down. That moment of awareness can reduce unnecessary spending. You don't have to abandon cards. But occasionally using cash for daily expenses can create awareness most people are missing. Stay with me, because we're approaching the midpoint. Let's pause for a second. If spending habits stay unconscious for decades, the math becomes unforgiving. Small leaks add up, and by the time many Americans reach their 60s, the pressure becomes real. But the encouraging part is this: the habits we're discussing are simple. They're not dramatic life overhauls. And the next few are where the system really starts to take shape. Especially the last one, because it quietly multiplies everything else. Longevity thinking. Japanese culture often emphasizes long-term thinking. You see it in craftsmanship, in food, in daily routines, and you see it in money. Many financial choices are made with a decades-long horizon. Not next month, not next year, but decades. Psychologists call this future self-connection. When people feel emotionally connected to their future selves, they save more. In America, financial culture often focuses on the present moment, upgrades, experiences, lifestyle inflation, but shifting your timeline changes your behavior. Ask yourself a simple question before spending. Will my 65-year-old self thank me for this? Remember that. We'll come back to it. Community stability. In many parts of Japan, people stay in the same communities for long periods of time. That stability reduces lifestyle pressure, less comparison, less constant upgrading. In the US, frequent moves and social comparison can drive spending, new neighborhood, new expectations, new lifestyle standards. But financial peace often grows in stable environments, where identity isn't tied to visible consumption. And that leads us to the final habit, the one that quietly amplifies all the others: contentment as a skill. This might sound philosophical, but it's deeply practical. Japanese culture places value on appreciating enough, not minimalism for aesthetics, but contentment as a daily practice. When people feel satisfied with what they have, spending naturally slows. Savings naturally grow. It's not about deprivation. It's about shifting the emotional relationship with consumption. People in Japan don't rely on motivation to save. Their environment and values make it easier. And that matters more than you think. Let's close the loop. Earlier, we mentioned that Japan's retirement stability isn't mainly about income. It's about systems, automatic saving, intentional spending, lower fixed costs, awareness of money leaving your hands, long-term thinking, community stability, and a quiet sense of contentment. None of these habits look dramatic on their own, but over 30 or 40 years, they change everything. This isn't about discipline. It's about designing a life where saving happens naturally, where your environment supports your future instead of quietly working against it. And here's the key. Don't try to change everything. Pick one habit. Maybe it's automatic saving. Maybe it's the 24-hour spending pause. Maybe it's asking what your future self would think. Try it for a month. Small shifts compound more than we realize. So here's a question for you. What part of the American money system do you think makes saving the hardest? I'd be curious to hear your perspective in the comments. And if you enjoy exploring calm, research-backed ideas around longevity, lifestyle, and financial well-being, you're welcome to subscribe. No pressure.